People are starting to pour in. Let's just open up into that place of now. That place where we can just stop and let everything unfold into this actual moment. That means if there's something in the space that you're trying to escape, you stop escaping. You just open yourself right up to everything that's here, exactly the way it is. Nothing to escape. Whatever this moment contains, you open in the face of it. Nothing it's not allowed to touch. There's a seeming paradox in that. When you open up in the face of it, you feel like you're finally allowing it to engage with you. When in truth, in that moment, for the first time, it has no control over you. Until that moment, you're creating all these boxes of what can and cannot be in the moment. And all the things that you're resisting you're actively engaging with. That's what resistance is. It's just a negative form of actively engaging with exactly what you do not want. And the irony is, when at a deep level, it's actually okay for it to be there, it does its little thing and disappears. Because you're not feeding it with any energy. It's just allowed to be. And so when we come to meditation, we sit down and we throw ourselves open to everything that is present in this moment. And we're protected. Not by our choice of location, but we're protected because we stopped playing with the things that we don't want in our life. It's the secret to so much of what you actually want. And yet almost nobody ever really figures it out. If you don't want to be controlled by your pain, get okay with pain. If you don't want to be controlled by the memory of something that happened, make room for that memory and let it be. But instead, what we do is we push it away. Giving our energy to it in the process, charging it and connecting with it in the process. It's one of those things you've probably heard before. As I say it, it sounds trite. But you can't learn it by reading it in a book. It's a lived experience. And there's many levels to a teaching like that. It just continues to unfold over your lifetime. You know, there's a teaching that's been pushing its way forward for the last week. Again, something that as I look at it, it looks very trite, and yet if anyone actually really lived it, it would change everything. Not unrelated. And it's this realization that you're exactly where you're supposed to be. That this moment, even in its stuckness, carries the exact lessons you're here to learn in the way that is the most suited to your specific situation. You know, so many of us spend so much of our lives thinking that we're not there yet, that there's some place we're supposed to get to. You know, we'll find the right job, we'll find the right partner, we'll find the right spiritual teacher, we'll find the right book. We'll stumble upon the right state of consciousness. And hoping that it happens in time. Hoping that it happens before we leave this world. But from what I've seen, you never get there. There's no there to get to. Spiritually or otherwise. When you get the right job, there'll be some next step that you're not at. When you have your awakening, there will still be all sorts of things in your life to improve. You might not care about them in the same way, but there will be further to expand, more to understand. Deeper to go. Anyone I've ever spoken to who thought they were done, just watch their life for a while. They're not done. Or they've just stopped doing all the hard stuff. They have someone else figuring out their finances, doing all their laundry and cleaning. Anything that might push a button in them, they've outsourced so that they can just walk around and glow. But if you're really staying open and challenging yourself, I don't think there's an end. There are lines in the sand that you don't come back from, places you don't fall down from after you've seen them. A reality of what we all are, the nothing that sits at the heart of all of us. But even with that, you're still here. And so if you're not careful, you could end up with a sense of there always being something you haven't gotten to. But there's this magic that happens when you let go of that and let this be enough. When you do that, when you suddenly just accept that everything you need is right here, and that you are exactly where you are supposed to be in consciousness right now, the paradox of when you finally let go of all the things you think you're supposed to become, suddenly in this completed moment, all the doors fly open and all the power you need to become anything is available to you. First thing you'll realize is you didn't need any of it. But I'm not of the school of thought that just because it isn't important, you don't need to do it. You need to do it to see that it isn't important. Otherwise, you're just one more person parroting a line out of your favorite spiritual book. There's a lot I had to do to see that I didn't need to do it. And while it still takes up a fair amount of space in my life, I'm grateful that if I lost it all, there'd be nothing by way of a sense of loss. It wasn't what was missing. It's never what was missing. What was missing was your ability to accept exactly where you are. That acceptance elevates this moment, I would say, to the top of the charts, but it's actually taken off the entire spectrum. It's like not even in the same game anymore. This is it. Right here, right now. Opening unconditionally to this is the doorway to all the growth you would ever want to have happen. But it'll happen without you having to push and pull it. Non-manipulation, as one of my most manipulative teachers would have said. But it's true. And you could discover it right now. Every waking breath, every waking moment is an opportunity for you to put down the search and accept that it's all right here in front of you. The first thing that'll do is take the pressure off. energy that you've spent placing everything you think you need to be outside of this moment gets freed up so that you can be deeply here and now. And from there, you just show up for the challenges that life presents. You don't even have to win the battle. You just have to show up for it. Do what you can do. That alone will initiate the growth without you even having to strive for growth. I spent most of my life pushing for growth. But that pressure, it's all just a bunch of ego play. Or if someone else is putting it on you, it's a bunch of manipulation. Personal power comes from acceptance. And it's counterintuitive because it doesn't suck like so much of everything else in this world does. It doesn't feel awful. It feels like a relief. It feels like a kindness. It feels empowering. And if you can make that your new home, if you can abide there for however long you can, it becomes a source of great growth and exploration. Life will put you in scenarios that strengthen you, challenge you in the perfect ways for you. I had a teacher who used to try and make that happen. And there's a lot to learn from that, especially if you're somebody hiding from your challenges and not showing up. You know, it can be useful to have a teacher come in and make your life so miserable that the only way to survive it is to let go of everything. But we're adults here, right? You can just show up and participate in this perfect experience. Step onto this track of expansion and growth. After a while, once it's had time to show itself to you as the right road forward, you won't resent the challenges it brings in the same way. They may be hard. My life feels hard. But you're there by choice. You're staying open and you're growing. What else is there to do? After a while, you stop letting the ups and downs of the story side of life direct your feelings. in the same way. You're still swimming in an ocean of other people's feelings, so there will still be ups and downs, but you understand it all. Because you've been standing in front of it open-eyed for so long. But that's not a place to get to. That's a place to be. Right now, your level of that. Your ratio of freedom to stuckness. To not feel bad about it. To recognize the gift in it. This illusory world is an arising from reality. It is not reality, but it carries the intelligence and the order of reality. And it has created the perfect package for your growth. Show up for it. Unwrap the package. Eyes wide open, heart wide open, moving forward. And drop the horror of it all. Because it doesn't matter. You're just playing a role. You remember that game Clue? It's kind of like that. Like you're a character from Clue, but you're in an escape room. When you win the game, your whole world is done. Gotta pay attention, make choices. But it's not so serious. We get tied up in it. Because part of how you play the game is you use the power of wanting in order to make things happen. And the more time you spend in it, the more it kind of has you. And so that's why you practice meditation. That's why you come to classes like this. We lift you up out of it, shake you off, and just get you clear again. And you enter it a little differently when we're done. That coming in and out of it, it starts to wake you up. The fact that all those problems just disappear as a shift in the attention has profound implications. Everything you see, all those shifts, they have profound implications on the reality of what you're participating in. And the more you do it, the more you start to see it. If you take it on as a practice every day, things change faster. But even that, just show up for it. Don't worry about being good at it. Just let your curiosity pull you into it. Drop the fight. And just look at what's in front of you. So let's do that now. We're going to enter meditation. You're going to keep your eyes open. You're going to use your breath to kind of still your mind because we've worked that into your nervous system. But really, you're just using that to be able to show up cleanly for this moment. And whatever else is in the space, give it its room to breathe. Let it be. Don't push anything away. There's nothing to heal. There's nothing to fix. Nothing to understand. Just be with it all of it, all at once. Let's do that now. Drop the barrier. Nothing to resist. Nothing to defend. If you're worried that you're not enough, make space for that too. Go ahead and just be not enough. Show up for that and be it. Someone has said something about you. What if it's true? Try it on. Who cares? Show up for it. Give it its space. nothing to defend. Marginalized societies have always found power in taking on their slurs, making them their own. It takes away their power. Give it space. Is there something you're afraid of? Go ahead and accept its possibility. Let there be room for that too. You'll still do your best, but stop resisting it. Every one of us will lose our life within the next 30 to 50 years, maybe less. So there's no winning here. What are we really hanging on to? Everything I've built will disappear as my brain decomposes and as the tides of life wash right over it. So if I'm doing it for immortality, or even endurance, I'm missing the bigger picture. You're here to let life express through you. That's what your time in the illusion is about. You are yourself an arising out of the nothingness, a temporary swirl of beautiful light, imbued with consciousness for a window of time. The awareness will never die, but everything else it will someday be as if it never existed. Knowing that, how do you want to live? what should a moment look like? Participate in anything you want. But do it for the right reason. Which is that is what you are moved to express. As you step deeper and deeper into reality. All the same things can get built. It's what's building them that changes. Can you see that? You'll have to see it many times. The mechanisms of life put a veil over our eyes. We have to lift it over and over again to see what's real. Some are just working on trying to lift that veil. Others throw their whole life away and step into nothingness. Right now, I step deeper into more complex situations in the illusion with the goal of not falling asleep. You know, that clarity that comes when you're doing something as simple as the breath, and the power that infuses into that. Can you infuse that power into leading other people in the construction of clinical guidelines, or in teaching as a professor? Not an easy road. I'm not sure I recommend it. But the idea here is to keep your eyes open to what's real as you walk through the world of what's not. And when the darkness descends on you, of all the things that are not okay in your storyline, to be able to let them go. To recognize them as manipulations of reality. Either someone's manipulating you in real time, or someone manipulated you a long time ago and their voice still lives in your head. Gotta stimulate it to see it. And let it go. See? But at the heart, it's showing up. Right now, showing up. In complete acceptance of what's present. You won't always nail it, but that's the path. you're going to make this yours this week. So that you don't just become one more student waiting for a teacher to clean the energy up. Teachings like this have to be integrated. They become a part of your sense of self, and then slowly dismantle it from the inside in a good way. Or whatever. A way that leads you deeper into reality. You don't need to wait 7 days to step back into this. The opportunity is always present. Everything you need is right here. There's nowhere you need to get to. You're already there. You just have to stop rejecting it. Show up. And let all of it have its space, the good and the bad, all of it. And walk through the realized story lines. That emerge out of your willingness to be present. Something just popped open for some of you. Are there any questions about any of that before we end for the night? It's as simple as it sounds. It's the resistance that's complicated. Do your best with it this week. And I'll be back again on Thursday. All right, everybody. Have a good night. I'll see you in a week.
Thanks, Liam.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Nice to see y'all.